Wife selection for a high-value man. In these modern times we live in, the idea of a marriage seems to be an old-fashioned or outdated concept. The last couple of generations born seem to have no idea what a business arrangement a strong marriage is and how it benefits everyone. In this video, I will show you one high-value man's thought process as he makes the selection of a future wife and mother. At the end of this video, I will explain in further depth why this man made the decision he did. Now, on to the illustration. Robert is a 34-year-old construction company owner whose company builds residential homes. He is an honorably discharged military veteran who started working construction after his service. He saved his money, took night courses, got his contractor's license, and over the course of the last 12 years built his own construction company with more than 50 of his own employees who love working for Robert. Robert also holds public office as a city alderman and is well respected as a pillar of the community. He is 6 foot 2 inches tall and an extremely fit 200 pounds. Robert has an outgoing personality, warm smile, and is considered very handsome by most women, the classic tall, dark, and handsome type. Through long hours and hard work, Robert's business has done consistently well for the past 5 years, making him a multi-millionaire, and his company pays its employees a higher than average wage. While Robert on occasion has dated, his business has been his main focus, so he has never been very serious about any one particular woman. Recently, he has made arrangements to spend less time working by delegating some of his responsibilities to others. His plan for his newly found free time is to build a legacy in the form of a family. So, first things first. In order to have children for his legacy, he needs a wife, so he begins the process of finding a mother for his future children. Since Robert is still relatively young, tall, fit, wealthy, with a respected status among his community, the demographic of females that would be interested in him is most every single female over the age of 18. But Robert is looking for a wife and future mother, so he will be looking for a woman in her prime childbearing years. This mother-to-be will be in her mid-20s up to the age of around 28. His reasoning is that he wants several children, and after the age of 30, women start getting very close to geriatric pregnancy age, and things become more difficult for them. Like many modern people these days, Robert started by using a dating app for the interview process, but saw quickly that it was a waste of time. There were plenty of women that showed interest in him, but since it was going to take a period of years to get to know any of them well enough to propose marriage, and after finding himself on a date with a married woman, and no, he had no idea until a friend clued him in, he decided to look elsewhere. After talking to family, friends, and people at his church, he had plenty of matchmakers trying to help him out and offer references for his dates. After dating around for about 6 months, Robert had narrowed the field of prospects down to just 2 women. Each of these women were people that Robert genuinely enjoyed spending his time around as they were friendly, charming, cooperative, and supportive, and they were both 24 years old. Rita was absolutely stunning. She was 5 foot 6 with great curves and long legs. She dressed well, and most men would rate her at a 9 on a scale of 10. Barbara, on the other hand, was shorter at 5 foot 2 and a bit pear-shaped. She was cute, with a warm smile and a big personality. On a scale of 10, most men would rate her at a 6 to 7. Rita, as it turns out, had a past concerning relations with men. Starting in high school and throughout her college days, she had collected a double-digit body count, which she claimed was quite normal these days, and never thought it would be a problem for her future relationships. Barbara, on the other hand, was a virgin. So Robert had a decision to make. He could take the step of becoming exclusive with Rita and later have a very hot wife on his arm, and together they could make some gorgeous children. Or he could take the same step with Barbara and have a cute wife and later end up with some cute children. But Robert knew that as a high-value man, as a business owner, city alderman, and respected member of the community, his decision on a future wife would affect more than just himself. You see, as the boss of over 50 well-paid tradesmen, his decision would affect them all. With this in mind, he knew the beautiful Rita could be an asset to his business marketing, as well as his political career, but the problem with her was her sexual past. For some women, a high body count prevents them from being able to pair bond properly. Even more troubling is that statistics show that the more sexual partners a woman has prior to marriage, the higher the probability is that she will be unfaithful. But the biggest problem is the effect Rita's past would have on Robert's respectability among his peers and employees. For one thing, no man in the position that Robert worked himself up to wants to wonder if he's shaking hands on the political trail or, while doing business, with someone who has previously had sex with his wife. Also, his employees may begin to question his decision-making skills if they know her past, and may worry that their job is in jeopardy because there could be a future divorce, and if so, how will the business be split? Will Rita take over? This is a disastrous choice. However, with Barbara, there is no worry about a past coming back to haunt them. Being a virgin means that she can probably more easily pair bond, and if she can stick to the vows she made to herself to keep chaste until she's married in this current environment, she can probably keep her vows to a husband with no problem. In the end, the choice was an easy one. Barbara was by far the best choice for a high-value man like Robert. She may not be model material like Rita, but she is well suited to be a model wife and mother who will cause much less stress on her proud husband-to-be. They were married 14 months later. The reason men are so concerned with a woman's past is because it has an effect on his greatest asset that he strives to attain and then tries even harder to keep, his level of respectability. You see, while women are born with value, namely her sex and ability to have children, men are not. From his youth, a boy is aware that he is being judged by others and that his value is largely based on what he's able to provide for himself and others. If he doesn't provide, then no one cares about him in any meaningful sense. This goes back to early man, who was part of a hunter-gatherer tribe or community. While this particular man during this period of time might not be the biggest or baddest alpha male type of the community, which would normally give him more opportunity for sex and to reproduce with a beautiful female, he may have been great at tracking small game for food. This made him respected as a man who could provide a value to his community and gave him a better chance of reproducing too. I used to say that men are generally controlled by three things: sex, toys, and pride, and that pride was the biggest deal of all three. But this is not necessarily true. It's not the man's pride that controls him, but his need to be respected in order to have value. This is why disrespectful modern women tend to end up alone. High-value men that have attained a level of respectability for their accomplishments have got to weigh a woman's past when making the selection as a wife. This is indeed the biggest decision he will make, in which he can lose up to half of everything he owns physically, which can all be replaced, of course, but losing his level of respectability is much worse for him. I already hear the complaints from the women saying that just because they made some mistakes in the past doesn't mean they can't make a good wife for someone, and you are absolutely correct. But a man will do threat assessment on his relationship situation with you, and if he finds out that you aren't transparent in your past, without being too specific, and you show him that you've learned nothing from your past, he's probably going to look elsewhere to find a wife. Women tend to deflect and downplay and avoid taking responsibility for their past, but this is a bad move if you're genuinely looking for a long-term relationship. Be someone who welcomes judgment instead of someone who hides from it. You don't have to give details about your past, as in body count or kinky sex or favorite sexual acts. Just be open about your past and what you've learned from it. Keep in mind that none of us that have ever lived were born knowing what we're doing. We are all just winging it. Be well and survive.